The Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah.
You know, for someone who was, you used to have to hide it before.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of it now, is that you don't have to hide it. And people that used to, you got people now that you never thought were smokers, and now they're coming out and just being totally free with it, and that's great, man.
What is that, a hemp laptop? What the fuck is that?
A hemp
It
top.
might just be a cover, but yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But how could it be a cover if it's like the USB ports and everything like that?
They have those like skin covers. It could just be a look-alike, but it looks like it is.
Well, they should make it.
I don't know. Yeah.
Hemp
they should
is the
make
miracle
that.
plant of our time. It is. I got to agree.
It is. Well, listen, brother, you're a bad motherfucker. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, brother.
Forever, for a long time. So it's cool to get in here, and we're gonna hotbox this week too.
Yeah, we're gonna to get in that smoke box.
I'm
People have been asking for you for a long time. I gotta tell you, and I say this, in some of the smoke boxes, like, because it's the realest shit. Like, we just had Mike Tyson in there, and
how weird is it to smoke weed with Mike Tyson?
That was I've smoked with him before, and I've smoked with him on a couple separate occasions aside from there. But one of the places that I smoked with him was at that fucking Lyoto Machida Rashad Evans fight.
Oh wow!
When we all left, after the fight, we were sort of getting to our cars, and he ran into me and my partner Kenji, and we were smoking a fat one right there. And he said, "Hey, be real. How you doing? Let me get a hit of that." I was like, wow. All right, fuck yeah, champ, here you go. And we always knew he smoked out. What was crazy about this interview, real quick, that I'll say it, like, because you asked me this in this interview, like, what did you do for the anxieties before, like, let's say you were going to go on stage or do the shit, right? So I asked him that similar question. I said, as artists, as athletes, before we're going to go do our thing in front of a mass amount of people, you get this nervous energy. What did you do to, deal with that? And he said, I used to get hypnotized before fights.
Yeah.
And he was saying how the guys that work with him would instill these certain words like calmness. That would be a reoccurring word that they would do in in hypnotizing him before a fight, so that he would always be calm in the fight and never fight desperate, and always be in control of the situation no matter what happened. And that's how he would, get that nervous energy down and be able to fight with such focus. But the other interesting thing he said was that he never fought. I mean, he was smoking the whole time. He's a big weed head since he was like 10 years old, apparently. But he said that he was smoking, but not necessarily when he was training. They would give him pharmaceuticals when he was training, shit that he wouldn't feel nothing, but he didn't have focus.
What kind of pharmaceuticals?
He said some of it was fentanyl, some Percocet, some...
Fentanyl wasn't even around back then.
Well, it's a form of it, like whatever...
Opiate?
Yeah, it was an opiate that was whatever, the fentanyl of that time, whatever. I can't remember what he called it, but there was 2 or 3 prescription drugs that they would give him, and he said he wouldn't feel nothing. He felt good, like there's no pain, no nothing. But the focus that he had was not there, right? He said that he smoked weed in one fight. Like, he smoked weed before one particular fight, and he used the Whizzinator to get through the urine test. Somehow he fucking he says it in the interview, and he said that the fight that he had where he was smoked out was with Andrew Galata.
Wow.
And he said he'd never had so much focus in a fight that it made him realize he should have been smoking weed through every goddamn fight, because he focused on everything he was supposed to. He said he broke his cheek. He broke his cheek here.
He broke his orbital.
He broke his orbital. He broke a rib and part of his back with a body shot.
Jesus Christ.
And he said, that was the fight. That was the one and only fight that he, smoked out beforehand. And Andrew Galata got...
He got flatlined. Andrew Galata left the ring. He was like, fuck this.
Yeah, and Andrew Galata had been through wars.
Oh, yeah, man. Those Riddick Bowe fights were crazy.
The Riddick Bowe fights. I mean, because Riddick Bowe was really good, but he didn't hit like Mike.
No. I
don't think no one hit like Mike. If you look at like some of his early training.
Oh, how crazy he looks. He was so crazy back then.
Yeah. If you look at some of Mike's early training and his footwork, it's almost like, almost like martial arts based. Mm-hmm. The way that he attacked and then he shifts. Mm-hmm. on his attack and his
that was
footwork.
Customato was a master.
Yeah, it wasn't until he switched up and got rid of Kevin Rooney and where the destruction starts happening.
I think it was also his life was just too crazy. It was just too crazy. No one can manage that from the time when he's 20 to by the time he retired. I mean, it was probably just a whirlwind of chaos.
And it's crazy because he realizes that, like looking back at it, and he says that he doesn't train anymore because it awakens a beast in him.
Yeah, I know. He said that. It made me nervous.
Right? Because he said that to you too, right?
Yeah.
Because I was watching, your interview with him, and one of our guys that was in the back seat asked him, "Hey, do you ever train? Do you ever, He's like, "Nah, I don't do that no more."
Yeah, he goes, every now and then I get on the treadmill and I do some running on the treadmill, but that's it.
I would imagine that if he got back in training, he'd get in shape real quick.
Oh, I'm sure.
But it would awaken a beast.
Yeah, they're all like, you can't quit. He's like, fuck you.
Fuck
In
you.
between rounds, he just got up and left.
Yep.
He's like, I'm out.
push that guy away.
He's like, you're not
like,
feeling these
it's done.
punches.
He knew something was wrong.
Well, he knew
He's
his
like,
rib was
shit.
broke.
Well, his eyeball was broke too.
Yeah.
Or look, they're trying to put the mouthpiece. Hey, put it in. It's Lou Duva.
Yeah, it's Lou Duva.
No, it's not
Lou Duva.
No, it's not. Who is that guy? It looked like Lou Duva for a second.
Yeah, you could tell his fucking face is busted right there.
It did look fairly normal, but I'm sure it felt like shit. You know, like it doesn't swell up real bad until later.
Listen, if Andrew Galata, who's been in wars, with Riddick Bowe and other fighters, like he was a no slouch. If he's telling you, I've had enough of this shit,
let him go.
Let him go. Because he knows.
Yeah. Once they found out that his back was broken and his face was broken, they're probably like, oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. His corner guy was like trying to put his mouthpiece back in.
It's so stupid. Once a guy doesn't want to fight, you can't make him fight more. I mean, it's like he's already flipped that switch inside of his head.
You know what I told Mike that he didn't realize? This is the last thing because I know we both got to go. But I said, do you know that all the dudes you fought to get to that title, including, the dudes that, that you took titles from, they all stopped fighting after you beat them. None of them wanted to come back and get nothing. They didn't want no part of that heavyweight title after that. He retired so many boxers.
Oh, yeah,
He doesn't even realize that.
Bruce Seldon, Tony Tubbs, go down the line.
All of them.
He didn't retire Larry Holmes. Larry Holmes waited until he went to jail, and he's like, I'm going to come back.
Yeah, that's the only guy. Bone Crusher Smith.
Yep.
Tyrell Biggs.
Tyrell Biggs. He definitely retired Tyrell Biggs. I mean, they were rivals at one point in time.
Yeah, he fucked Tyrell Biggs up pretty good. Leon Spinks. Yeah, he's like,
Michael.
Michael.
Spinks,
Yeah, he's like, you know what? I had this title too long.
It's like, that's a wrap.
Yeah.
Enough. Check, please.
And he told me just like, I was like, you know what? I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, man. He really did. He retired a lot of people.
So we all saw it.
He was a force of nature.
Yeah, and I told him, the other thing I told him real quick too was, like that explanation that he had on his documentary where as he's coming to the ring, he knew he had the fight won.
Yeah.
He could see it in their eyes, and then once he steps into the ring, he's a god. They're done, right? And I told him, I was at that Bruce Seldon fight, and I saw exactly what you explained in Bruce Seldon, because Bruce Seldon was knocking fools out left and right. He was like a really good heavyweight. The minute he got in there with Mike, he fanboyed out, tasted that glove, didn't want no more.
Yeah, it was an experience. It wasn't just that you were fighting a guy who knew how to fight, but you were fighting Mike Tyson. He was this
idol.
He was this thing, this cultural phenomenon. He was thought to be, at that time, everybody was thinking he's the greatest heavyweight of all time, just a destroyer.
Yeah.
No one had an answer for him.
Nah, Seldon, he pretty much, he was a fan. That was his idol, and he totally got rocked.
He was so huge at the time that when Buster Douglas beat him, even though I knew he beat him, I watched the fight afterwards. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, he's going to get up. There's Bruce Seldon. Look how jacked Bruce Seldon was. I mean,
he's a big boy, man.
A fucking tank.
Yeah. And he was knocking people out. I mean, like 29 knockouts, and he was fighting good guys.
Oh yeah,
because
he was the WBA heavyweight champion.
Yeah,
at the time.
I mean, I followed his career too. You know what I mean? And he totally fanboyed out on Mike, man. Mike.
Well, look at the stare down. You see him in the stare down. You're looking at that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, you made a tremendous mistake in getting here tonight.
Tremendous mistake, bro. Look at that. Look how much bigger Selden is, too. He's a big boy, bro. He wasn't taking none of that shit.
Tyson's footwork and his ability to close the distance and bobbing and weaving. I mean, it was like there was nobody before him like that.
No, man. There'll never be another guy like that.
As a heavyweight, he was just so fast, too.
Because realistically, the guys who trained him, they had a certain technique and nobody uses it.
Well, it was not just that. It was what Mike talked about in the podcast about being hypnotized.
Yeah.
I mean, from the time he was a little boy. And, you know, the fact that he had nothing before that. Everything was, his life was shit. It was all pain and suffering and poverty. And then all of a sudden some guy comes along and rescues him and takes him, teaches him how to box. And then all of a sudden he gets recognition and positive feedback. And he felt like he was something special. Boom.
He fucking hit that canvas hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't want it.
We kind of forget sometimes what it was like watching those fights till you go back and watch them now. I mean, there's amazing fighters right now, like Terrence Crawford, who just won Saturday night. Amazing boxers. But what Mike was something. He was something completely different.
Yeah,
he was something that like transcended sports. Like everybody wanted to see him fight.
You know, if you believed in conspiracy theories, right? He didn't even hit him right there. He just fell on purpose, right? Yeah. If you believe in conspiracy theories, right, you think about it like this, right? Mike was knocking guys out in the first round, and people were paying a whole lot of money for tickets and pay-per-view. You know, when you look at it, it looks like they were trying to slow his roll and put in a guy like Evander Holyfield, who was a brawler. He could box, but he could brawl and take the fight 11 rounds. And, you know, make it a fucking great pay-per-view where Mike would totally ruin the pay-per-view and knock your ass out in a minute. And when you look at it, the way boxing was for such a long time, I wouldn't put it past it that, you know, a lot of the shit that happened to him was manipulated so that it would slow his roll.
What kind of shit? Like, what do you mean?
Well, you know, the people that he had around him. I mean, you had
certainly
Don King around him. He took all his people that he trusted away from him, put different trainers in his corner, different people that were influencing him, and it just took him backwards, man. And all the people that actually helped got him there were fucking gone. And those were the guys that was actually giving him guidance as to, you know, how to conduct yourself, be a man, and all that stuff. And he got around the vultures, man. And to me, I think Don King being Don King, he stood more money. He stood a chance to make more money with someone taking out the fight, you know, 11 to 12 rounds as opposed to 1.
Well, he gave Mike the worst deals ever, too.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing was terrible. He stole money from him. To this day, Mike hates him.
Yeah.
And that's all terrible.